A cold, sad, eerie silence has descended on this former Carmelite monastery in North Philadelphia. A cruel blow coming after a brief moment of renaissance when 9 traditional Carmelites arrived in 2017. But when their traditional way of life was threatened, the sisters quietly departed. Then the news was confirmed only last month that the monastery has been officially shuttered.
It's absolutely horrendous what's happened here. Betrayal in a capital B. I mean, it's beyond the pale what's happened here.
With monasteries and convents closing all over the world, you might ask yourself, what is it that makes this place so special? And why are Philadelphia area Catholics so passionate and so emotional about preserving it? Well, it's been around since 1902, and it quickly became the focal point, the very center of devotion to St. Therese of Lisieux, not just for Philadelphia, but for the entire United States. So this is truly one of the crown jewels of Catholicism in the U.S. But 2 weeks ago, the battle and the struggle for control of this property and its assets took a very drastic turn.
Caretaker Robert Pagnotta is the only living soul still remaining on the property. A deeply spiritual man, Pagnotta said he was stunned and frightened when he heard noises coming from the chapel, where he soon discovered 2 Carmelite sisters from the St. Joseph's Association, along with their attorney and a locksmith, locking him out of the chapel and the remainder of the cloister.
He didn't even tell me. You know, he says, I'm here with the sisters. I say, what sisters? Like, you would think, you know, everyone knows the situation. Like, there's no sisters here. So again, I'm on high alert. And then he tells me, well, the sisters of the St. Joseph Association, Sister Mary Elizabeth and Sister Gabrielle. And then they started slowly walking down. And still I asked him, I said, you're not telling me why you're here. And the strange thing was, he knew who I was. I was even more flummoxed than I am right now, because I'm still shaking over it.
The St. Joseph's Association is the entity charged by the Vatican to carry out new instructions issued in 2018 for Carmelites known as Cor Orans. Cor Orans is in direct opposition to the Latin Mass and the traditional way of life. And now that the last sister has left, the St. Joseph's Association claims ownership of the Philadelphia Carmel.
It's difficult probably for us to perceive why they would be doing that, especially if we're looking for a noble, good reason behind it. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that you can infer motivation by looking at consistent results. And it just seems like we've lived in a generation where the church is decomposing. And not all of it is a result of things beyond the control of the people that are in charge. You know, when you look in Philadelphia, for example, there's, you know, my whole adult life, they've been closing schools. At some point in time, you know, you have to realize that that may not just be an accident, that could be actually part of a strategic vision that somebody has for the future of the church. Because there are enough examples of people saving schools that if it was the desire to keep schools open, the schools could be kept open. To me, this is part of a larger plan that's going on inside of the church. And there's clearly 2 opposing sides. One is, you know, it's interesting to me, you know, I go back to catechism class, and one of the things I learned in catechism class was that our church stands on a 3-legged stool. You know, it's sacred scripture, it's sacred tradition, it's the magisterium, and it appears to me, you know, from where I sit, that it's now the magisterium looking to destroy sacred tradition, which ends up a 1-legged stool, which can't stand.
You reflect to this document, Cor Orans, which to me, you know, seems to be a document designed to suppress. It's not designed to, you know, reinvigorate monasteries and things like that. It's designed to destroy. And, you know, why would you want to follow along and obey that document? I mean, this blind obedience that's going on is I don't know another word for it. I think it's evil. I think that people are misled.
With no cooperation from the Archdiocese, it seems the only path forward for these Philadelphia Catholics is to stand and fight.
This has been going on for years. The looting, the pilfering, the deception. It's part of a major problem. This is just the result of that with the Carmel. And we have information that I hope is going to be released over time, a very short period of time. I hope this is going to be a documentary, because this is going to explain all the incidences where, from the seat of Rome, properties were totally illegally confiscated, and good religious were kicked out of the property, and the property was looted, the funds were taken, and nothing was done about it. My sense about it here in Philadelphia, this is my backyard, not gonna, stops here.
So you're not going to stop fighting?
No, sir. And I believe with all my heart that we get the story out and explain the necessity of what Catholic action is all about. You know, get these Catholic men to stop focusing on, you know, Maricopa County and the Georgia elections and Mar-a-Lago, and consider the first duty of a Catholic man, and that's to protect Holy Mother Church.
Well, if somebody doesn't stand up and talk about this and fight for it, then we're going to wind up in a situation where we have no Catholic presence or even faith in the United States, and I cannot myself let that happen. So this has been happening all over the country, and the great work that LifeSite News has been doing, it's really gone viral. We're hearing other people talk about this around the country, around the world, and we got to keep talking about it, because the faithful, they need to be aware of what's happening. They need to be aware of what our dioceses are doing to us and how they are not standing up and fighting for our beloved brothers and sisters in the consecrated religious. So if they're not going to fight for them, then yes, we must, and I certainly am.
There's a grace of having this presence of this, you know, of the sacrament in this location. I don't know what's going to happen in this neighborhood if this place is torn down. I suspect it will be torn down, but you know, it's everything is in God's hands.